Hello and welcome to NIMASA This Week. I'm Frank Ido.
And I'm Cordelia up there.
It's nice to have you here on NIMASA This Week. This program hasn't been available for a long time, but it's back because the new look NIMASA decided to reinvigorate every aspect of their organization, and this program is no exception. It's a pleasure having this lady here as co-presenter.
It's a pleasure having this month. Why did you have to stress
I
it?
know, I know you now. That's what you're going to do. You're always getting back, paying someone in their right coin.
No,
Why?
Sabi, my friend, say it properly. Say it with some happiness.
Okay, it's a pleasure having you here.
It's a pleasure having you here too, my friend.
Okay, now, when NIMASA, the program NIMASA This Week was unavailable, I mean, many things happened in terms of NIMASA. And we have a new executive board. So I think it is quite apt for us to, just give you a sneak introduction into who these people are.
We have Mr. Bashir Yusuf Jamo. He's Executive Director of Finance and Administration. He has 25 years public service experience.
And also, we have Mr. Joseph Fashakin. He's the Executive Director in charge of operations with nearly 3 decades of working experience, mostly in the private sector, under his belt.
And with no less experience, Mr. Gambo Ahmed, Executive Director of Maritime Labor and Cabotage Services, is also a part of the crew. His career spans between the private and the public sector. As the program progresses, we'll be telling you more about these people. You get to know that they are very experienced people and they're taking NIMASA to the point they really want to be, which is at the top.
Navigating NIMASA to that predestined destination.
English.
And all these activities are manned by the chief helmsman. He is the DJ, Dakuku Peterside. And Cordelia was fortunate to chat with him, and you'll be seeing that later on
the show. But before then, let's quickly bring you some news from the maritime sector. Nice to know you're watching us. This is NIMASA This Week. And something transpired recently. All over the world, a day has been set aside to celebrate people who work on ships, be they just the workers or people who sail. And it's the 25th of June every year. The International Maritime Organization has set that day aside as a Seafarers' Day. This year, Nigeria also joined. NIMASA has some special things to do to celebrate that day. It was held in Warri, and the governor of Delta State, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, hosted NIMASA and seafarers to a beautiful time out.
Do you know that during that event, the DG also tipped the Nigerian seafarers as one of the best in the world?
I wouldn't be surprised because, when we decide to do anything, we really put our hearts to it.
And also, I'm also impressed by the way that NIMASA is going in trying to make sure that our maritime industry is at par with our international counterparts. So anything decided by the IMO, NIMASA is always one of the first agencies to implement them.
And that is thumbs up. International best practices always on point.
All right, we have something coming up after the break. I don't think you should miss it. Stay with us. All right, now welcome. This is NIMASA This Week. And Cordelia, I want to ask you now, if you wanted to negotiate remuneration, who would you get? Would you get someone that is very proficient in that art, or you would just, go to the authorities? What would you do?
I think I will think about it. But there are people in charge of that, so they know all the intricacies and so on. So I should be going to somebody who knows the job.
Who knows their onions. All right. So our next report just has that. Think about the welfare of the dock workers. Now think of the people that are in charge of negotiating that well-being. Well, this report will tell you more about that.
The Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, organized a meeting of the employers and labor unions in the maritime sector under the aegis of the National Joint Industrial Council, NJIC, in Lagos.
It gives me a great pleasure once again to welcome you all to the convening of this distinguished NJIC. The council that is saddled with the responsibility for negotiating a review of minimum standards for dock labor, which successfully reviewed the last collective bargaining agreement that lapsed 31st May 2018. It will be recalled that within the past years, the agency has been facilitating the council negotiation or review of the existing minimum standards with a view to arriving at acceptable and implementable standards that will be binding on both employers and the workers in the nation's maritime labor industry. I wish to reiterate that the regulation of the dock labor minimum standards is the statutory responsibility of the agency as enshrined in Section 27, subsection 1 and subsection B of the NIMASA Act. It is therefore our interest to ensure that council deliberations commences forthwith.
The chairman, Ports Consultative Council, PCC, Otumba Kunle Folari, who represented the Seaport Terminal Operators of Nigeria, STOAN, expressed his optimism.
I believe that this meeting that we are having today will be the beginning of many things of collaboration between STOAN, NIMASA, and MAWUN. Because, as we noticed, there seems to be no difference between STOAN and MAWUN on many matters. They reach agreement and understanding very quickly. That is why we want to maintain the good relationship between MAWUN and STOAN, so that NIMASA will be an outsider. We will just be concurring, because we will have agreed before we come to NIMASA.
The attendees of the meeting showed their enthusiasm over the efforts of NIMASA in ensuring the welfare of dock workers in line with international labor laws. The President General of the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria, Comrade Adewale Adeyanju, had this to say about NIMASA.
My years of service in the industry, I think I've collaborated enough with the NIMASA team. And the peace that is reigning in the port today, as a result of we unite together and we collaborate together. And I still want to let the House know that we are still going to keep the tempo going, that the peace will continue to reign in the industry.
The council is to ensure that the two parties, the employees and the employers, come together, agree the work conditions, and NIMASA is statutorily mandated to ensure that this is in compliance with international regulations and standards. You know, shipping is international, and we have guidelines, regulations, conventions that guide welfare. And we are here to ensure that Nigerians are not treated differently from what others are getting. Just because he's a Nigerian worker, he gets nothing.
Well, it's fantastic to know that they have better pay. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's good to go home knowing that you have better pay. You can afford to buy the things you want to buy.
Most importantly, it's good to work in a place where you know that your welfare is being taken care of. So you don't have to think about that. You know that there's a future in this and there's longevity. Speaking about longevity, I know you've been in broadcasting for a long time and you've interviewed a lot of people. Who's the most important person you have ever encountered in an interview?
I'm trying to remember now. Is it a premier also of Canada? Is it Prime
Premier of
Minister
Canada.
Canada or
Oh,
something?
wow.
I don't even remember.
I thought you were going to say Hugh Masekela.
Hugh Masekela.
Oh, God
It's not
bless
the
him.
most important. All of them are important,
Okay.
but I loved talking with Hugh Masekela.
And
He was so sweet.
yes, yes, a wonderful man. You spoke to another wonderful man recently. He is the Director General of NIMASA. And
Yes.
you told me it was a wonderful interview. I'm itching to see it.
Yeah, it was a wonderful one. He's a delight to speak with anytime.
You know, let's not take your word for it. Let's watch.
All right, this is the part where we get to meet the man who is, should I say, ruling the affairs? Yes, because it's yes, it's yes, it's no, it's no. When you're talking about NIMASA, Dr. Dakuku Peterside. Nice to have you on the program.
Cordelia, thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
You're welcome. You've been here for almost 2 years now. Yes, and it's been a lot of work. So how has it been managing the Nigerian maritime space under NIMASA?
It's about the most challenging task I've handled in recent times, but it's also very rewarding. Rewarding in the sense that you have the chance of contributing to the economic growth of the country and indeed promoting safety within, as well as raising a lot of young men and women, raising their hope, giving them a future, giving them a career. So for me, it's been very interesting.
I'm very sure that many years ago, just like I'm wondering, some people are wondering too, what are the core duties of NIMASA? What do you really do? What are some of the offshoots of NIMASA? If you were to break it down to somebody who is trying to find out.
Well, there's been a lot of misunderstanding about the role of NIMASA. If you look at the NIMASA Act as enacted by the National Assembly, NIMASA has two principal functions. Not that there are no other functions, but two principal functions. The Section 1, Part 1, Section 1 of NIMASA define the objectives as, one, to promote indigenous participation in shipping in international and cabotage trade, meaning participation of Nigerians in ocean-going vessels or global trade, global commerce by sea transportation, as well as coastal trade by sea transportation. That's one. The second one is to promote and regulate safety, security, marine environment in shipping. Those are the two principal functions of NIMASA. And so if you ask me in summary, I would say that NIMASA is a regulatory agency as well as one that promotes shipping development. Those are the key functions of NIMASA.
Now, having seen or heard you give life to that theoretical thing, because it sounds like theory to some of us, one would be wondering if one should agree with people who say that we have a lot of idle potential in the Nigerian maritime sector. Would you agree with that?
I wouldn't say idle potential. I would rather say a lot of potential in the Nigerian maritime sector. And that's multi-dimensional when you say that we have a lot of potentials. Maritime sector is indeed a big sector. It's got to do with energy generation through the sea. It's got to do with underwater mining. But the most important, the most common, the one people associate maritime with is shipping, waterborne transportation. And the reasons are simple. 80% of goods that come to our country come through seaborne transportation. Most of the goods that leave our country, the exports we do, 90% approximately leave through seaborne trade. And so you can rightly say shipping is the life wire of our economy. Without shipping, we will not derive the benefits of the products that we grow here, the natural resources that are extracted here, and indeed, that will have affected the quality of life of our people. And so most of our earnings, we do get most of our earnings because we export things outside the country through seaborne transportation. Can you imagine for a moment exporting crude out of this country by any other means? Not by vehicular movement, not just by train, not by aircraft. None of those ones could serve our purpose. And so if you talk about the economy of Nigeria today, you can't imagine an economy without shipping. It's just not possible.
So you're saying that it could add a lot to the gross domestic product in Nigeria. That is the economy. It can really, really boost it. That is in a nutshell what you just said now. And utilizing it more will give
I'm
us
simply
more.
saying that the entire economy of Nigeria depends on shipping, whether in terms of import, because we're a country, is unfortunate, but that's a fact. We're a country that depends so much on import, finished products imported into the country, whether by reason of technology, by reason of things not grown within our region, by reason of climate or any of those things. We depend on a lot of that for our country, and all of them come through shipping. Then most of the things that leave our country, from which we earn our foreign exchange, for which we earn most of our revenue, is through shipping. We take out agricultural products, raw materials, if you choose to call them. We take out crude, gas. All of that leaves our country through vessels. So the entire thing about our country, the entire thing about the economy depends on shipping. It plays a critical role, a strategic role if you choose.
All right, you see a lot of beautiful things in future. That means your vision is very, very sharp, well articulated for the maritime sector. So simply put, what should people remember you for? What legacy do you want to leave behind?
Well, my legacies are very clear. The legacies I set out to leave behind in the industry. I want to see Nigeria play a greater role in the maritime industry or maritime community globally. And we recently refreshed our vision in NIMASA. And we say our vision is to be the leading maritime administration in Africa, advancing Nigeria's global maritime goals. I want to see Nigeria become the center of maritime activities in the continent of Africa. We've got the potentials. We are geostrategically located. 65% of cargo headed for West and Central Africa will end up in Nigeria. We've got a big economy, a big population. We've got disposable income. And so most of the exports coming to Africa will end in Nigeria. And most of the things leaving Africa will likely leave from Nigerian ports. We are equidistant between West and Central Africa. And so if you're coming from the tip of Southern Africa and the tip of North Africa, the center of all of this is Nigeria. The only thing is that we've not been able to convert this natural location to economic advantage and the advantage that shipping confers on a nation. Singapore is a small nation of 4 million people, but because it's a great shipping nation, it's also a great economy. In Singapore, you have 1,000 vessels bet every day and close to 300,000 vessels bet in a year. What do? Singapore do not have too many economic activities. What Singapore has done is to provide services. And so if you talk about ship financing, you think Singapore. If you talk about ship chartering, you think it's Singapore. Ship management, you think Singapore. And there's no great nation that is not a great maritime nation. Whether it's United States, whether it's Japan, whether it's China, whether it's Korea, whether it's United Kingdom. It's no coincidence that all great nations are also great shipping nations. It's because there's a nexus between shipping and economic prosperity.
Oh, well, I'm very sure you know what I'm saying when I say he knows what he's talking about. And on this program, we'll be giving you updates. And via this program, you should be saying, yes, he said he would do this. He has done it. Check. We're waiting for him to do this. He will do it. Check. And you'll be getting the scorecard. Thank you very much for coming on the program today, Doctor. And we'll be seeing you next week, right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, we're going back now. You're still watching NIMASA this week. Stay with us. So, that was it.
Wow, that was great, Cordelia.
Oh,
Well handled.
well, when you have somebody you're interviewing and the person is well spoken, the person knows what he's talking about and where they want to get to, it makes life a lot easier.
I'm so pleased about the legacy he wants to leave, and I just hope and I wish that in Nigeria, every aspect of government, every, you know, even the private sector, I mean, every aspect of our lives would be done with so much, you know, attention to detail, with so much focus, and with a wonderful passion. You know, that's putting the square pegs in the square holes.
You sound like a sage. Well done, well done.
Okay, all right. So
We should be packing our bags now, right?
yeah, we should be, because our ship is set to sail. But we want to say thank you immensely to NIMASA for this program. It's always good for us to, you know, delve into what the people are supposed to know. Now, people can't be left in the dark many times. There might be many things, many undercurrents going on, but you don't know it until you have a program like this to, you know, signpost it. So, yeah, I want to say thank you to NIMASA for doing this program.
And thank you very much for watching, because without you watching, no need to be here. So we'll see you again same time next week. And remember, take care of yourselves. Pray for the nation, because without the nation, I doubt very much if we will be here.
Yeah, pray for the nation. And oh man, the World Cup is still going on, and
can we go?
Yeah.
Can we go?
Yeah. Let's. I mean, we are back. We came back. I wonder what ship the boys. Oh, they came.
They came in a VAR ship.
All right. So thank you immensely for watching, and we'll see you next time.
My name is Cordelia Oble.
And it's Frank Edo. God bless. Goodbye.